Hey guys, it is your girl Nat here. Today I am having a conversation with Imran. If you don't know him, he also has a channel on YouTube. Today we are talking about the differences between UK and US. I also want to point out I did have a similar conversation like this one on Callum's channel, and I would encourage you to check out that video. I think this video is a great topic to discuss, especially if you are interested in studying architecture abroad or you're just curious about the differences in architecture, because no country is going to approach licensure for architects the same. Hey guys, I am joined today by Imran. He is an architecture student in the UK. He's just starting out, and today we're going to have a conversation on the differences and similarities between the UK and the US. Well, first of all, welcome and thank you so much for making the time.
Guys, I'm Imran. I run a channel called Arch with Imran, and I'm a second year uni student at University of Portsmouth, which is south of the UK.
So first of all, I guess the first question, how is studio going? Do you like your classes, and how's that going?
Yeah, it's going really well. A lot of the courses change a lot with COVID, but you kind of got to adapt, and it's a really good quality of an architect to be able to adapt to different scenarios. So it's going well.
Yeah, for sure. And what's your course load right now?
So normally we have a number of units that run the entire year. With the current circumstances, what they've done is they've condensed certain units into certain terms. So instead of having, for example, history, tech, communication, and design run through the entire year, I had history before Christmas, technology now. They've kind of split it up so we have less workflow. It's going well and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, and what's your favorite class so far? Do you have one?
So design is by far my favorite, and then the others are more lecture based, so more note taking.
Certainly. It's interesting though, because I think studio, which dominates your time as an architecture student, professionally speaking, you're probably spending about 50% of your time looking at construction drawing, updating your knowledge on code, and then studio maybe makes about 30% of your time. In school, you're spending majority of your time developing how to think like an architect. What kind of projects are you working on during your foundation years?
Architecture in the UK is split into 3 different parts. Part 1 is your bachelor's, which is also undergrad, and that's year 1 to 3. And then after you do your bachelor's, you have part 1 professional practice, which is a whole year in industry. And then after that, you have your master's. I'm currently in my bachelor's, halfway through part 1. And what I find is a lot of the projects are really creative and open. A lot of them seemed really strange when we got them. Projects like we had to design an area of peace in a 3x3 cube in a church. And the projects were really strange. I designed a house.
For Louis Kahn?
No.
No.
I can't remember who I designed a house for, I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's okay.
But I have friends that designed a house for Jackie Chan, David Attenborough, Louis Kahn. Although we questioned those kind of projects at the start, it was through speaking to the lecturers later on that they kind of explained they're trying to condition us to think about an architect, tailoring a design to a client. Architecture requires a load of different skills, and definitely trust your lecturers, because although some of your projects may seem strange, they know what they're doing and condition your mind a certain way of thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to circle back really quick to talk about the overall structure and your path from architecture student to architect. So you said you have 3 paths, right? So you have your undergraduate years, which is only 3 years. Yeah, see, in the United States it's 4, so that's interesting. And then you said a gap year for what?
It's called part 1 professional practice. You basically spend a year working in industry at a specific firm. Basically just gives you an idea of how work is. A lot of postgrads especially say that work in industry is extremely different to studio. It's a really different environment, an understanding of what work will be like after uni. A lot of people say it's slightly more boring, but it's a necessary part of the process.
Sure, and you will need a master's degree, right?
Yes, so as I've said about the part 1 and part 1 professional practice, now those are your first 4 years.
Yep.
In between the different parts, you can have whatever break you want. There was a guy in my course last year that was in his 60s. So you can really do it at any age. After part 1 professional practice, you've got part 2. Now this is 2 years, and years 5 and 6, and it's your master's, also known as diploma, and this is postgrad. Once you've done your master's, you then have 1 more year, which is part 2 professional practice, and normally in this time you'll also do your part 3. Part 3 is literally an exam, and when I was researching it, it basically said normally part 3 consists of a case study project that you lead. It also has an interview and a written exam. And once you've done all of those 3, which is part of your part 3, you're then a licensed architect and you'll be added to the ARB, which is the Architecture Registrations Board in the UK. And then hopefully you start working.
Yay! Okay, wait, so I have a question about exams. So you only need to take 1 exam, right?
There is 1 exam, and that is in your 7th year.
In the States, we have to take 5 tests, and they're called the AREs, and apparently it takes about 2 years to work through 5. And that's if you're studying, for all your tests back to back. I'm only a little jealous that you only have to take 1 test.
How long is the process from starting architecture and becoming an architect in America?
So similar to what you said, it definitely varies on how fast or how slow you want to go. 4 years undergrad, and then 2 or 3 years masters, right? And then you have your professional development years after. And there's really no set time. It takes about 3 years of interning to fulfill your APX hours. I don't know if you have to fulfill any hourly requirements, but the way it works here is that you need, about 1,000 hours of working on stuff for, professional development and code laws, and then 1,000 hours of pure design concept ideation at a licensed legitimate firm in the States. We don't do it by year when you're interning, so that's interesting. Let's say a student starts architecture at your school at any UK university and they end up not liking the major. Are there any options or avenues somebody can go down after they complete their architecture degree but hate the professional practice?
Okay, so I think it's a lot more free once you've completed your masters. And what they even told us in my lecture first year was once you do your part 2, you don't have to become an architect. You could go into something like landscape architect. People go into stuff like urban design, focusing on sustainability in architecture. Once you have the knowledge, you can really apply it to loads of different avenues. But if you're earlier in that, so I have many friends after first year, they just decided architecture wasn't for them, and loads of them have changed to something like engineering, and they said it suits their skills better. So it depends where in your process, but if you don't enjoy it, I think talk to your lecturers, and I'm sure you can work something out. Architecture's in such a wide field.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess a final closing question I have for you is, do you have any advice for somebody, majoring in architecture or aspiring to be an architect? What would you say to them?
I would say, I think it's pretty obvious, but try work out what you enjoy. Keep an open mind, but also look at what you enjoy more and go towards that, because you will, if you enjoy what you're doing, you're always going to create better work.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I think that's all the time we have for today, and I just want to thank you so much for coming on. Like I mentioned in the intro, he does have his own YouTube channel.
I've recently started a new Discord and an Instagram, but all of that is on my YouTube banner, so go check out the channel. Let me know what you think, leave some comments. And I just want to add, I tailor more towards software stuff. If anyone wants to leave requests for specific software or anything, let me know and I'll see what I can do.
Thank you so much, and go check out his channel because we're having another collaboration there. And that's it for today's video. I hope to see you next time. Love you guys.